Good morning. My name's Jenny Donahue, and I'm your lay worship leader for today's service. I warmly welcome you to First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Bridgewater. I've been a member for like 27 years because my oldest child will be turning 27 in December, and I was pregnant when I came. I've been a member, no, I did that one. I serve on the RE committee, the stewardship team, and most recently, the Committee on Shared Ministry. What I love about this church is whether you can make it here every week in person on Zoom, or if you only come every once in a while, you're still part of the big family, and we always love to see you when we do, and we think of you when we don't, and wherever you are, you're always part of us. That's what I love, is the family part. Before we begin our time of worship, we have some announcements. I'm going to read a few, and then a few people will come up to say their own. From Debbie Baumgarten, we have the membership committee is compiling a new photo directory at First Parish. Desiree will be in the lower parish hall following the service to take individual and family photos today. Please stop by and have your picture taken. It only takes a minute. Coffee hour hosts are also needed for all of December, which started today, the 1st. Please sign up in the upper parish hall and see Debbie if you're able to help. I'm going to invite Hadley. She has a quick announcement.
So today I couldn't wait to sell this stuff, so there's stuff on the upper parish hall that I made, and I'm going to be selling it today at coffee hour.
The young entrepreneur. Rin, I had next on the list, and not on the list, but come on down, Eileen, come on down.
I don't think you have it listed. I just want to remind everybody, Saturday is the holiday fair from 9 to 2. Some of you have already committed and made cookies and are making soup, but whether or not you're doing that, please come. The most important thing is to come. And spend money, yes. So you could send a check even if you can't make it. But at any rate, it's really fun. It's a nice holiday spirit. I think that's what I enjoy about it as much as anything, just being together all day. And some of you know Patty and Barry Simon, and they're going to be here doing their live music, which just adds such a lovely touch to the whole day. So please come.
And Rin has an announcement she's going to share with us.
So my school is doing another musical this year. This year it's SpongeBob the Musical. So if you would like to come to that, I'll have posters next weekend at some point. But it's from December 13th, 14th, and 15th. The 13th and the 14th shows are at 6:30, and the Sunday show, the 15th, is at 1 o'clock. So if you want to come and support local theater, oh right, Bristol Plymouth Tech for anyone who doesn't know where I go, yes.
Okay, I'm going to round out unless anyone else has something quick. You have something quick?
This is a little community announcement. It's Christmas on the Common in Bridgewater today, and I am on the Common. I've been there for 2 hours. It's cold, but the library trustees are giving away books. So come and have a book.
Excellent. I did not see it.
Okay. An announcement from the worship committee. We would like to have people who are willing to volunteer to be in rotation to do altar decorations, for different Sundays, either flowers or something related to the holiday. So if you'd like to be part of the team, Luella and myself and Victoria, we welcome you.
Okay, and one little plug from me. We have one spot left for Kids in the Kitchen. We have May 11th, the theme of imagination. So 2 adults, we need you. Come see me later. And I'm going to continue with my script, right? Good. All right. Is this okay? All right. Okay. First Parish Bridgewater is a welcoming congregation. We proudly fly the rainbow flag to symbolize our welcome to people of all identities, ages, and backgrounds. If you are new to First Parish, we hope you enjoy your experience this morning. We encourage you to fill out the guest book on the table. at the rear of the sanctuary, making sure to include your email address to receive church updates. For newcomers joining online, please see the sign-up link posted in the chat. We invite all who are here in person to join us after the service for a time of fellowship in the Upper Parish Hall. This service is being hosted via Zoom. Give a wave. It is being recorded for Bridgewater Cable TV and for YouTube. You can find the link to the YouTube video in the weekly bridging. The recording camera is turned off to protect your privacy during the sharing of joys and sorrows. In the event of an emergency or evacuation drill, please leave the building through the main sanctuary doors, right? We've got 2 here. Or should you need a ramp through the School Street entrance to my left. You are welcome here. Thank you for joining us. Your presence makes a difference. We will now begin our time of service and worship with the prelude. Thank you, Denise. It's time for our chalice. Hadley, would you please help as we light it? And we can read the words together that are up here. I'll start. We light our chalice
to mark this sacred hour as we gather in this beautiful historic sanctuary, both body and spirit. We connect to the many generations that have come here to explore the divine. Let us join our hearts and find holy in our relationship with each other. It is time to share worship together. Good morning, everyone. Today marks the first Sunday of Advent, and so I wanted to share this Advent prayer with you all. It comes from the good folks over at Infleshed, who are a wonderful collective who write really brilliant liturgy for different liturgical seasons. This is the reading. We come to know you, Holy One, as wisdom incarnate, as flickering flame, as spirit of life, as hope, peace, joy, love, infleshed. You come to us as the stranger and the strange, Often we do not recognize you. Often we turn away from your gifts and demands. You are made known to us in vulnerability, courage, and divesting from the powers of empire. We come to you this Advent in need, with longing, in pain, captive to fear, desiring a more just world, a more livable life for all of us, for the earth, for every living thing caught and held in this inescapable network of mutual interdependence we call this wild and precious life. We long for you, for healing. We long for liberation. We long for different systems and patterns of relating. And so this Advent, we pause, we breathe, we pray, we dig deep. We reach out. We rise up, we remember, we vision. We sit with the pain. We stay with the trouble. We wait, expectant. We light candles, we labor. We open to you and to one another and to the sacred mystery, God with us, love incarnate, divinity in flesh. This week, the hope of God with us does not come as guaranteed outcome or a predetermined plan or promise as a happy ending. Hope cannot be imposed from on high. Hope cannot be commanded. Hope is courageous, risky, unfolding, indeterminate. Hope is collective, liberating us from deadly complacency. Hope is growing in the darkness. It comes unexpectedly. Hope invites our expectation and demands our participation. Prepare the way for hope with courage. May hope be birthed among, within, and through us this Advent.
Okay, just double checking, too many scripts to read. Affirmation of our covenant. Please rise in body or spirit and let us join our voices for the affirmation of our covenant. I'll start.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our opening words by Pastor Rosemary.
Thank you, Jenny. Once again, I'm reading from this book by Reverend Julian Haweca Soto. This is A Charm for Hope, a string, the inspiration for this whole service. This is a charm for hope. The first thing to do is tie a string around your finger. Remember that you are not alone. Think of the ways that our best shared futures are braided inextricably with your own present and your destiny. The second thing is to untie the string and let the knots and tightness fall away. Let the burden of bleakness
roll off of your sore shoulders. Resistance on these opaque horizons only requires one source of strength, one ray of light. Remember that persistence doesn't require all the answers up front, only one. Fortunately for all of us, we have one response: to remain together through the awkward times and happy ones. We remember and we find our resolve in one another. Let's sing our opening hymn, number 21, hymn title, For the Beauty of the Earth. I don't have my paper. Let's rise.
Now is the time in our service for the sharing of joys and sorrows, those matters of great personal significance that touch us, our families, and our loved ones. If you have a joy or sorrow, please come to the front to light a candle. If you would like to speak, please keep your sharing brief at this time so the ritual moves smoothly. You may also choose to light your candle in silence. Online participants are invited to share by typing your joys and sorrows in the chat, and a volunteer in the sanctuary will read them aloud.
Each week we light our candles of joy and sorrow. And I know that there are so many more joys and sorrows which remain on our own hearts, which are perhaps too tender yet to share. And so Will you join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation or contemplation? Take a deep breath. Settle into being present here in this space. There is nowhere else you need to be. And if you're joining us on Zoom, know that you too are held here. It's the dark time of the year where the days are short, but emotions are big. As we spend time with loved ones or don't spend time with loved ones, it can feel intense. And we hold one another in that intensity of this time. Of our relationships, our losses, our disagreements, our missing of one another, our loving of one another. Spirit of life, help us to be good neighbors, good friends, good family members. Help us to celebrate the things worth celebrating, to really feel the joy. And help us to walk through sorrow as well when we need to. Help us to be thankful for what we do have, and help us to say no thank you to what is not for us. Let's take a moment of silent contemplation together, breathing in and out. Can stay seated, and we'll sing our meditation hymn, number 391, Voice Still and Small, once through.
Each Sunday, we collect an offering to support the ministries of the church and the mission of a community organization that shares our faith values. This month, contributions to our collection plate are being shared with the Brockton Area Multi-Service Incorporation, BAMC, I think we refer to it. This month's plate charity is BAMC, enriching lives across Greater Plymouth County for nearly 50 years with accessible mental health, family, and senior services. They're launching a drop-in center for the unhoused, addressing urgent needs. Donate via check to First Parish with BAMC, BAMSI, in the memo or directly at bamsi.org. For the reading this morning, Pastor Rosemary asked me to give her voice a break. This is Winter Hours from Upstream by Mary Oliver. In the winter I am writing about, there was much darkness. Darkness of nature, darkness of event, darkness of spirit. The sprawling darkness of not knowing. We speak of the light of reason. I would speak here of the darkness of the world and the light of blank. I don't know what to call it. Maybe hope, maybe faith, but not a shaped faith, only, say, a gesture or a continuum of gestures. But probably it is closer to hope that is more active and far messier than faith must be. Faith, as I imagine it, is tensile and cool and has no need of words. Hope, I know, is a fighter and a screamer. When I came to a teachable age, I was, as most youngsters are, directed towards the acquisition of knowledge, meaning not so much ideas as demonstrated facts. Education was, as I knew it, made up of such a reestablished collection of certainties. Knowledge has entertained me, and it has shaped me, and it has failed me. Something in me still starves. In what is probably the most serious inquiry of my life, I have begun to look past reason, past the provable, in other directions. Now, I think there is only one subject worth my attention, and that is the precognition of the spiritual world, and with this recognition, the condition of my own spiritual state. I am not talking about having faith necessarily, although one hopes to. What I mean by spirituality is not theology, but attitude. Such interest nourishes me beyond the finest compendium of facts. In my mind now, in any comparison of demonstrated truths and unproven but vivid intuitions, the truths win. I would therefore write a kind of elemental poetry that doesn't just avoid indoors, but doesn't even see the doors that lead inward, to laboratories, to textbooks, to knowledge. I would not talk about the wind and the oak tree and the leaf on the oak tree, but on their behalf. I would talk about the owl and the thunderstorm and the daffodil and the red-spotted newt as a company of spirits as well as bodies. I would say that the fox stepping out over the snow has nerves as fine as mine and a better courage. I would write praise poems that might serve as comforts, reminders, or even cautions, if needed, to wayward minds and unawakened hearts. I would say there exist 1,000 unbreakable links between each of us and everything else, and that our dignity and our chances are one. The farthest star and the mud at our feet are a family, and there is no decency or sense in honoring one thing or a few things and then closing the list. The pine tree, the Platte River, the leopard, and ourselves. We are at risk together, or we are on our way to a sustainable world together. We are each other's destiny.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm new to the practice of Advent, so thank you for exploring it with me today. I will say I'm not new to the practice of opening Advent calendars. I've always loved those. And I'm not new to the practice of impatiently waiting for Christmas to arrive. That's always been the case for me. But the Christian liturgical season of Advent is new to me. And so today we lit the first Advent candle for hope, and I thought of 5 different sermons I could give about hope that seemed pretty important. And then I read the Advent prayer from Enfleshed that I gave earlier, and I chose the risky one, which is why this service is so weird. So here we go. I have been thinking a lot recently about the kind of hope that runs through families. And so I've been thinking about the hope that runs through my mother's family, my grandmother's family. Stubbornness. The kind of stubbornness from my great-grandfather, Hugh Robinson. He had the sticky, digging your heels in kind of hope, the risky kind. Hugh was born in 1897 in New Hampshire. He graduated from Colby College and then medical school in 1922, and he and my great-grandmother Olga married after meeting at the Newton Wellesley Hospital. They moved then to Tengzhou, China, what is now known as Beijing and Peking outside of those cities. He served as a medical missionary, as a doctor, with a Congregationalist organization until the outbreak of World War II in 1941. His wife and 4 children, including my grandmother, fled the invading Japanese forces and returned to Massachusetts in early 1941. But Hugh stayed behind and continued serving. He tried to escape the war through the Philippines. But in January 1942, Japan launched their full-scale participation in the war. And Hugh was transported to a prisoner of war camp in the Philippines. Here's what he wrote in his college alumni publication about those years. Dear brothers, in the fall of 1940, I was in Tangshan, North China, doing missionary work. I had sent my family off to America the preceding spring at the advice of the US State Department. War seemed getting nearer every day, and the mission board cabled that if we wanted to get out before the war began, we better start right off. To get a trans-Pacific liner, we had to go to Manila. We arrived there just 6 hours before Pearl Harbor. The Army had gone to Bataan. Manila had been declared an open city and dropped into the lap of the Japanese like a ripe plum. January 5th, 1942 was the day that the Japanese came for us and interned us at Santo Tomas University. July 1st, 1942, the Japanese forced the Red Cross to stop feeding us. We got less quantity and poorer quality of food all the time. At first, people thought internment would not last long, that MacArthur would be back in 3 weeks with the Marines. As time went on, they finally made up their minds to settle down for a longer period. By the time I got away, there were 600 private shanties in the camp. We knew about the atrocities in the war prisoners' camp. We had ways of knowing. We knew there were groups of American prisoners working in the port area. July 22nd, 1943, the head of our executive committee told me very confidently that my name was on the list of those to be exchanged to go to the US in a few weeks. Only 127 of us left the Philippines, out of nearly 5,000 Americans in the islands. Santo Tomas was the largest of the prisoner of war camps in the Philippines. It was in operation from January 1942 until February 1945 during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines. Mainly American and British civilians were interned there. And in the camp, they formed self-government, they had elections, they worked on work crews of their own accord, including sanitation, medical care, and found ways to equitably distribute the food rations. My great-grandfather Hugh worked to provide medical services for both years of his internment as a doctor. Here is a quote from his college's alumni magazine again. Carl Mydans, life correspondent, interviewed upon his arrival on the warship, was quoted in the papers as saying of Robinson, "There is a wonderful man." He did superb work at the camp, taking care of the health of all the internees, and with a pitiful shortage of medical supplies. Further testimony comes from the secretary of the Congregationalist North China Mission. Hugh was one of the outstanding Americans in the community of 4,000. He made a grand and glorious contribution to the life of the internees. Hugh knew everything. One prominent man, in praising him toward the end of the internment, said that he didn't know that Hugh was, quote, one of those damn missionaries. But my great-grandfather was lucky. As he said, about 130 to 150 internees were repatriated to their home countries as part of prisoner exchange agreements between Japan and the United States throughout the war. He arrived back in Newton in December of 1943 after 23 months in the camp. Most internees, however, nearly 5,000, served a full 37 months in captivity. On average, these folks lost 53 pounds over the course of these months due to near starvation. It took convincing for Hugh to leave the camp. The story in my family goes that he refused the first 2 prisoner exchanges offered to him, insisting that he stay behind and provide medical care, or that those with higher need or younger families go first. For the rest of his life, he did not speak much about his experience in the camp. He continued his work as a doctor. He was a general practitioner at the Newton Wellesley Hospital, the work he had been doing before he went to China. His daughter, my grandmother, is now 95, extremely sharp, and exceptionally well-traveled. She has never been to Japan. She does not eat Japanese food. She spent 2 of her formative years with her grandfather interned. She has mentioned to me that Japan never apologized for their role in World War II, as Germany did, and it seems that she takes that lack of an apology seriously. I am still uncovering this history in my own family, and it feels really recent somehow. I've been feeling through how I want to tell this story for a while now, since it holds a lot of complex themes and heavy ones. The colonial power of medical missionaries, my great-grandfather's own story and his trauma, which neither my mother nor I had the opportunity to hear firsthand in our lifetimes, my grandmother's story and her trauma, her inheritance of her father's story. When I fact-checked the family version of this story and found a clipping of my great-grandfather's obituary, there was as much space devoted to his participation in the local Mayflower Society as there was about his internment in the war. So this feels complicated. Everything feels complicated. It's the second Advent season where I feel the dark pulling as I think about Gaza, about the people of Palestine, about people still trapped and starving. Still, I turn on the radio and I hear interviews with doctors who have chosen to stay, like my great-grandfather did. They have chosen to stay to provide medical care despite the bombs and the lack of clean water and the starvation and the disease and the death that marches steadily forward. I hear and I see a mirror image of my great-grandfather. Doctors who choose to stay with their people through starvation, horror, and war. Nobody should have to make such a choice, such a terribly hopeful choice, yet here we are, again. Reverend Anna Bladel of Infleshed writes that the Talmud teaches that every life is a universe. Every life taken breaks the world. Every life saved, allowed to survive and thrive, is a world saved, made possible, made whole. More Palestinian children have been murdered in this last year of Israel's genocidal war than in the last 4 years of all global conflict combined. Each life is a universe. Each life that each of these medical workers fights for, a universe. Each life they cannot save is a universe extinguished. And Bethlehem is still under the rubble. A baby is born again in Gaza each day who will not live to see the next one. Each one of these lives is another universe extinguished. And it is not fine. I am not fine. This is not the world I want to live in. And this is not the system I was taught we live in, one where American values might do good in the world, one where I seem to be able to make a difference to stop it with my votes. If we are one another's destiny, we have not arrived yet. And so what are we to do in this season of Advent, this season of waiting, this season of practicing hope and preparing for the arrival of the light? I am not a Christian, but in recent years I have really tried to undertake Advent's invitation to intentionally reflect, to make space, to long for something more than the world we have today. I want to spend my December noticing that the systems of domination in our world are trying very hard to pit us against one another, to separate us into an us and them, to turn us towards buying things and consumption as a source of hope, away from one another. Anna Bladel once again writes, "Pretending we are fine, pretending all is fine, is how deadly supremacy spreads and thrives." Fine, writes poet Andrea Gibson, is the suckiest word, and it never tells the truth. And so, entering this time of the darkest, if not the coldest, of winter, I want that hope which Mary Oliver writes about, the kind that can resist the darkness of the world and give us something genuine to hold on to, not knowledge-based, spirit-based, the kind that is a fighter and a screamer. The hope that lives within me has been built by my faith communities, my communities of song, those which have come together to organize for change. There is no easier place for me to feel hopeless than on my own couch alone at the end of a long day. Hope demands community, someone to fight for, people to scream with. I also want to encounter and investigate the link between me, the trauma from my ancestors, and the trauma my country is inflicting in Gaza. This machine of war, of retribution. This is my work, this uncovering, this particular one, but we all have it in some way. What stories live in your own family that are sources of complicated, frosty hope and curiosity? What rituals of mourning might you practice as you move through them? How are you encountering the spirit of hope this month? Risky, courageous, indeterminate. I want to leave us with these words from Mary Oliver. She says, "I would say there exist 1,000 unbreakable links between each of us and everything else, that our dignity and our chances are one. The farthest star and the mud at our feet are a family. There is no decency or sense in honoring one thing or a few things and then closing the list. The pine tree, the Platte River, the leopard, and ourselves. We are at risk together, or we are on our way to a sustainable world together. We are each other's destiny." Blessed be.
So our closing hymn today is going to be Swimming to the Other Side, and we're going to learn it together. We're going to sing the chorus together. Rosemary and I are going to sing the verses, and then every time we sing the chorus, you guys will repeat. So you can follow along with the screen, and how we're going to do it is I'm going to sing the first line, and then you will repeat the first line. Then I will sing the second line, and you will repeat the second line. Then we'll sing line 1 and 2 together. We will do the same thing for lines 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And then once we have learned every line, we're going to sing the whole thing together, and then just keep moving on with the song. So if you are watching, when we gesture like this, we're going to sing the chorus together, and you guys can sing right along with us, and the words will be up there. So just to start again. I'm gonna sing line 1. You folks are gonna repeat. I'm gonna sing line 2. You repeat, and then we sing line 1 and 2 together, and so on.
Just watch Victoria's cantor arms. She's got you.
Years of practice.
You are held. It's going to be great.
Okay. We are living 'neath the great big dipper. We are living 'neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are washed by the very same rain. We are living 'neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together. We are swimming in the stream together. Some in power and some in pain. Some in power and some in pain. Swimming in the stream together. Some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on. We can worship this ground we walk on. Cherishing the beings that we live beside. Cherishing the beings that we live beside. We can worship this ground we walk on. Cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. All right, from the beginning, everybody together. We are living 'neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together. Some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living 'neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together. Some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living 'neath the great
this ground we walk on, cherishing the things that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the things that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
Thank you all. Is the benediction next? Okay, great. I put down my piece of paper somewhere. I don't know. It might be, no, that's a different piece of paper. I have so many papers. Okay. As we leave this place, let's go forth with hope. Let's go forth holding one another in love, holding one another in care, and knowing that we are one another's destiny, from the mud beneath our feet all the way around the globe. Amen. Blessed be.
Okay, the time has come to extinguish our chalice. Thank you, Hadley. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. I'll start. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
O come, Emmanuel, and all of you to coffee hour. Our time for worship has ended. Our time of fellowship now begins. If you would like to stay for coffee hour, please make your way to the Upper Parish Hall. Thank you.